Okay, so I've officially shut the northern gate up for SOs, so I'm going to cut the magazine production off and let that be a problem for another time. Also, I don't know if I've showed off the biter eraser yet, but here it is, erasing the parts of the biters, or the biter soil that I hate looking at so much. I also think it would be fun to go to the southern gate and see how our forest is doing. I know that I have a mod in place that allows trees to grow and spread naturally, and I want to see the rate at which it's spreading down there. Hey, yeah, I mean, I think it's starting to poke out in a few places, just here and here. Seeing some trees dotted in here as well. So, I guess the forest will come back eventually. I'm very happy about that. Yeah, it looks like there's been a healthy amount of fighting here. We got like 1, 19, 30, 18. Oh, I'm looking at the range, aren't I? 16, 32, 39, 45, 70. Okay, these are all good numbers. These guys are all fighting. That's good. Yeah, again, I want to cut off I keep forgetting to cut off the northern gate. I cut out a little bit of the forest so you can kind of see the belt coming through, which I think looks pretty. Yeah, and this base looks pretty. Magazine production is healthy. Again, next big goal is acetylene. So I know I said it earlier, but yeah, we got to hop in the lab and figure that out now. Here we go at the north base, and there seems to be a large line of complaining turrets. So let's just go ahead and, in general, just give them away. Give the turrets away. 8 each. That should be good. Give it a second update. Come on. And there we go. Only 2 that are left complaining now. Okay, well, looking at my time lapse, I was completely wrong. So this is like before the beautiful forest, and then when it got burned down, and then where it is now. And it seems like it's not growing back. Actually, I'm about to update it, so maybe it is growing back. But these little points I thought were the forest reaching back out, but it seems like it was already there. Okay, so here is my acetylene production. These ratios are kind of messed up. I guess I'm still trying to figure out how to use Factory Planner. But the gist of it is that we have 15 raw coal in, we also have water in and limestone, and then we get acetylene and iron oxide. We have 3 other byproducts, or 4 other byproducts. We have tar, coal gas, carbon dioxide, and slaked lime, which we have no uses for, or we do have uses for, but the uses are far away. So those are byproducts and will be treated as such for now, meaning we will vent the gases and we will dump the liquids in a lake, right? We found a huge underwater cave. Yep, we're going to dump our liquids in there for now. And then in the future, when we get more flow control, we can start controlling byproducts and using them as primary resources before we vent them. Hey, so this is a vanilla ice cube from the future, from the past. I'm from the future. But anyways, I just wanted to explain what I mean by having more flow control. So right now we don't have any flow control, so all the pipes go anywhere, right? So for example, aluminum ore takes coal gas as an input, right? And acetylene production makes excess coal gas. So when I say I have no uses for it, you might be thinking, oh, why don't I just connect the excess coal gas to my aluminum ore, because my aluminum ore will use that coal gas instead of me wasting it, right? So acetylene production makes excess coal gas, and then excess coal gas makes aluminum ore. But what happens here is if aluminum ore ever gets full, right, like we max out on aluminum plates, which we have, so this isn't like absurd. If this is also just an example, but so this happens, right? Aluminum ore gets full, that means the excess coal will start backing up, and then once excess coal gets backed up, we can't make any more acetylene. And no acetylene means no lead, means no magazines, which means our base just explodes, right? So we need something called flow control. Alright, so this is how flow control works. So again, we have acetylene production, which has the excess coal gas, and we have our main coal gas production. We have valves that check if the contents in the system are less than or greater than 80%. So what happens is right here, there's no valve from excess coal gas to the aluminum ore. So this is always just flowing into the aluminum ore. right? So all our excess coal gas is being consumed, right? So again, we run into the issue. What if the aluminum ore is all backed up, right? So what happens to the system, right? If it goes above 100, if it backs up, if it gets over 80%, what we do is we're going to start opening up this valve and we're going to start venting that excess coal gas so nothing gets blocked off, right? But what if the opposite happens? What if we're not producing enough excess coal gas, right? What if this is only enough to fill the pipe 50%? That's a 5, 50%. Well, if the contents of the system is under 80%, then the main coal gas production backs up. So this flow control allows us to control or use up our byproducts as the main components. This system allows us to use our byproducts before making our dedicated production, right? So why burn coal and tar to make coal gas when we have excess coal gas? We should use that first. Again, yes. Okay, so I've now added in the electricity, and I've also made it so that we have that output. So let's go ahead and test this out. Okay, looks like we got the raw coal going in, coal being turned into charcoal, charcoal being fed. The limestone, let's see if the limestone can keep up. I never actually checked. We need 2. Okay, so let me go fix that. Alright, I've gone ahead and fixed it. Limestone now has the correct amount of production, but it seems like nothing is moving. That's because the lime exits the system. Oh, and then it never goes out. This is because it's full of coke. So, I mean, this is a pretty simple fix. We'll just make it offset to the near side. Oh, okay. This isn't making any lime because we're not making any coke, but we have plenty of coke here. There's no coke going into the system. Okay, let's fix this as well. Okay, so we've put these long-handed inserters in, and they look kind of gross. Also, if we just make them pick up from 2 away, they'd be much faster. But let's go ahead and see if this is working now. Okay, things are being passed into the acetylene. Okay, looks like I missed the bottom ones and the top ones, so I gotta move these up and these down by a little bit. Oh, and I guess while you're sitting here, you're wondering hey, what's up with these boxes, you know? This is because there's going to be an update at some point which increases the high-pressure furnace size by a 5x5 to a 7x7. So I've modeled it here for now so that when it does change, I don't have to change this whole, I don't have to redesign the whole thing. The new updated ones make them bigger and, just updated graphics. They look really cool as well. So excited for when that comes out. But otherwise, it looks like we are making acetylene. The issue, though, is that it doesn't seem to be consuming everything. Also, there is iron oxide in here for some reason. Okay, so it wasn't consuming everything in time, not because we weren't giving it more inserters, but because we had the limestone blocked off, so we weren't consuming any of that. So let's go ahead let the limestone run, I guess, make this ×4 speed to see how it looks in the long run. Okay, so whenever I test, I always forget that I have stack sizes of 4. So I've gone ahead and changed them all back to 1. That way it's more accurate. We kind of had to add multiple rows of disgusting long bendy inserters, especially this one, which picks it up and then changes size as it inserts. But with that, I think this works now. This works perfectly. Everything is going at full speed. And all that's left is to light this up and then decorate. And this is it. Yeah, this is my acetylene production that's supposed to eat a whole line of raw coal. But it's not exactly doing that. And we're getting enough coal in here, so yeah, this is as good as it's gonna get, I think. Let's go ahead, light it up, decorate it, and then port it over. Alrighty, so I have finished decorating and I added lights. I think these 4 should be enough. If it's not, I'll add more. But my main issue here is that it's not consuming all the raw coal. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and blueprint this and copy and paste it and just make another one directly underneath like this. Oh, always auto-saving. Make another one directly underneath, and just connect the rock hole up to that, so it uses up the rest of the rock hole. The leftover rock hole. It uses the leftover rock hole. And there we have it. So we have just copy-pasted this and placed another one here. I think what we're going to do is keep them separate instead of combining them into one bigger one. I think this really drives home the fact that this was intended to be one full production block, but it wasn't consuming all the rock holes, so I just pasted a second one. The outputs we will combine and do with later on. For now, I think I'm content to leave them separate to really keep the two separate production blocks aesthetic going. But yeah, I think we can go ahead and copy this and port it over. Except we won't need this, and we won't need this or that. Well, ideally I did want to fit this right here, but it seems like it's gigantic. I should have designed this more sideways like this to accommodate our bus, but it's been horizontal. So if I place it here, it'll cover a lot of ground, which I think will be fine, because I don't know if we really need to be conservative about space here. I could also place it directly underneath this coal patch, just because, yeah, it would give it a little bit more breathing room. Also, it would look nice as a structure like directly underneath it. So I think I'll put it right here. There it is. There's me committing to place it down, and then I'll have the coal kind of branch from here and then go upwards to connect up over there. That way, whatever comes out of the copper yield, we'll give it a little bit of space. So we'll move our intersection down a little bit here and bring it up and to the right. And then our copper ore has a little bit of space. It's quite cool to see the companion drones build at night, especially with their lasers. At some point, this blacklist came off, and it started picking up the small parts instead of just automated science packs, which is kind of weird. So that's why our iron has been kicked up into gear recently. It's kind of weird, but yeah, I'll just pick up all these small parts and hope it doesn't happen again. Dang, so we used to be having power issues, that we were having disco nights, but now we're using so little power that my box actually filled up, and it actually was clogging the system because we had so many excess burnable fuels backing up that yeah, the system just kind of halted in some areas. So yeah, I just find that crazy that I kind of had to fill, or I had to open up this box to accept fuel. But that does mean in the future there is hope for me having too much burnable fuel that I can send back through the system just because, you know, it looks pretty. Okay, so I think we have everything here built up and connected. I've connected the acetylene by going all the way down here and to the right to the lead ore to the rest of the acetylene, and I've also connected the water to the same pump that's powering our main power source. So let's go ahead and plug this in and watch our acetylene be made for the first time. The acetylene, we can go ahead and check. The acetylene production is increasing. Let's see if this one is running. There seems to be an issue. Oh, no, never mind. Okay, it's running. So let's go ahead and check production, fluids. We'll check for acetylene, acetylene, and it's not going up. It's kind of weird. Alright, okay, so I just needed to give it a second. We have basically quadrupled production from, it seems like around 400 to settling at maybe 1800, so 3 times the production at least. This will correlate directly to lead ore. So let's go and check out our lead ore production. There we go. from about 30-ish to 165, so 5 times the lead ore, which doesn't make sense. It should correlate. These will probably correct themselves. And I don't think we have magazines yet. Yeah, that spike will have to wait in a second. First, we have lead plates, which will also wait. So yeah, we should just give everything a little bit of time to settle and ensure that everything is working correctly. Again, you may be wondering why I have this inserter doohickey. It's because in the future, Pi has updated high furnaces to go from being a 5x5 to a 7x7, so it'll go out to this line, at which point these inserters will grab it directly, and we will no longer have a need for these two. Okay, so I've let it settle a little bit, so let's go ahead and take a look at the chain, the production chain that was affected. If we look at acetylene, yeah, we can see that it's pretty much gone from around 600 to bouncing from 500 to 1500 maybe, so I would say about 3 times the amount, though there are random big spikes like this. And acetylene powers lead ore production, so let's go ahead and check that out. We have, yeah, in the past 10 minutes we've gone from about 37 to steadying at like 150, so 5 times or 3 to 5 times the amount. Again, we'll see what it settles out later on. This, of course, directly correlates to lead plate, which we should see the same kind of rise from about 5-ish to, well, probably settling at around 25, 5 times the amount as well. And then next up, what do we got? Magazines. So magazines, as you can see here, yeah, has increased, so maybe 2 to about 10 per minute, which is a huge increase. I'm starting to see extra miners turn when there were only these 3 turning before. These were turning a little bit, so maybe over time, as the acetylene fills up the pipes up there, these will turn more. But I think this highlights one of the big issues I'll probably be coming across in Pi. I have a tendency to build, and I think in Pi you shouldn't overbuild too much, because as you can see here, after all that work, you know, we're only touching a fraction of these, or actually more is spinning now, which is good to see. So maybe we will see more of this, but in general in Pi, if you overbuild, generally you'll get a more efficient recipe later on, which makes all your overbuilding effort kind of not worth it. I'll see how I feel about that. I do like building a lot, and I don't mind overbuilding, especially because I'm playing with rampant resources, which makes all resources infinite, but it gradually goes down to 25%. So I do like building and rebuilding and upgrading my setups as I go. I don't generally like skipping out on builds as I go and build them. I guess I do want to show off how Rampant works, or not Rampant Resources works, because you could see the correlation here when I click iron ore. You could see that apart from the beginning where I was kind of building a bunch at a time, thank you, autosave, you could see that the amount of iron ore slowly is going down over time, and if we start with 719, we'll probably end up at a quarter of that, so maybe like 200 or something, right? 200 or closer to like 180 per minute at the end. But yeah, we can see the slow decrease in the amount of iron ore I'm able to produce over time, and this will be true for all ores. It's a good time to finish the magazine production because I have been constantly getting alerts from not really the SO's Northern Gate, but mainly the Southern Gate and the Northern Gate Mark II. They've been engaged quite frequently. If we take a look at the kills, yeah, we can see I basically am getting a constant flow of enemies coming and attacking. We have wasp drones that are coming and attacking, which is not the best to hear because they set my forest on fire. If they target anything past my wall, they could set this forest on fire, but I think I know how to combat it now. I'll basically deconstruct the trees that are on fire, and that's my plan. Let's go ahead and update our map to see what we're going to work on next. So we did get new acetylene, and it's decorated. We have more magazine automation as well, so let's select all of these. remove raw coal to main base. I'm still deciding on that because I still got to bring lead ore to base. I'm still deciding how to repurpose that extra line of raw coal. For now, I don't think I'll work on this. And that's all we've done. The next steps I'm going to take are, I could begin, I think I will begin on these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7 items I need to build simple circuit board. But in the back of my head, I will be brainstorming how I should effectively use shotgun turrets and how I can upgrade the defenses and how I could feed them. So even if, I figure out how to use shotgun turrets, how to arrange my walls that way, I still have to feed them. And so I have to decide if I want to bring a separate line of shotgun turrets all the way down, or if I just want to make them share a belt. But the problem with sharing a belt is that every time the bullets split. So here, let me give. Oh, I'm not supposed to alt tab. So let me show you in the world. Since I don't have splitters, every time the bullets will come here and they go into the box, they're no longer, I can't have magazines on one side and shotgun shells on the other side, because once they enter here, they'll come out of whatever side they want. So I can build a contraption that makes it so that they rearrange themselves. And actually, I'll build it right now to show you. Okay, so here's a contraption. Basically, we're going to pretend that this is from the belt. This is how we load it. One side I'll have glass, and on the other side I'll have copper plate. And we have them on each side, but once they get here, they tend to split up any way they want. So if I cut off copper, as you can see, glass will want to go in both directions, right? So in order to make it so that they continue down the way that they should be going, you have to kind of make these contraptions. And honestly, I thought these contraptions would look really bad, but the more I test with it, the more okay I am with what we have going on here. So I might actually consider this for shotgun and magazine turret, because military 2, I get piercing rounds magazines, which are fine, because I'll just replace the normal magazines. Maybe I can experiment. I think I will. I could see myself implementing this system at each of these corners. It would look like this, basically. Would be at each of these corners, this big clown fiesta kinda. And I think it wouldn't be the absolute worst. It would look really silly and kind of weird, but I think it's something that I will ponder more and decide if I want to put in. Yeah, and it seems like the number has settled from around like 3.3 to around 12, so 4 times the amount. And I realize the acetylene, the lead ore, the lead plate, and the magazine production should all be proportional, and I've been saying numbers between 5 times the amount, 1/3 the amount, and 1/4. So I want to say probably like a between 3.5 to 4 per 4%, not percent, 3.5 to 4-fold increase on our production. But I'll be happy to see that our base will finally be fully defended. Let's see if these actually split off. This one went down. This one went forward. Okay, that's good to see. So yeah, these should evenly split up and we can defend all our gates. And as for what I'm going to work on next, I think I've decided. I'm not going to work on these shotgun shells for now. I do love shotgun shells, or not shotgun shells, but shotgun turrets, and the idea of creating a cool defense front, but I think I've just spent a little bit of time upgrading the military, so I should get a little more progress on the pie side of things. So yeah, we'll take a look at what I should be working on next. Well, so there's no real order I guess I should work on these. So I guess the first thing I'll work on is the copper zinc battery. Hello, and once again, welcome to the end of the episode, and I would like to once again thank well, you might think my patron, but actually I have 2 now, so I'd like to thank my patrons, the Pi Science Pack 1 patron, Ema, and my Automation Science Pack patron, John Boy. So thank you guys very much again for supporting me. Oh, and for the immortalization, right? So because the main perk of being a patron is that I immortalize you in my playthrough and in my game, I've been in contact with both John Boy and Ema. John Boy has decided to be immortalized in this in the form of a companion drone. So one of the companion drones will be renamed to John Boy and colored a teal blue so that it is more identifiable. And you'll see that in an upcoming episode. Ema has likes the forestries, so I've gone ahead and I will rename the tree farm the Ema Lumberyard or Ema's Lumberyard. So we're excited to see those in the coming episodes. Thank you once again for all your support.